Hey folks, Liv here once again. Welcome back to another review of the superhero reviews. Shouldn't be too long to do this anonymously because I got work. I had to work this weekend. And man, what's today crazy? But I don't have to really work till 11 o'clock tomorrow, so I figured I had time for a review. And plus, this movie's short. By the way, uh, remember guys, Leave At McNally, 1983. This is another YouTube share of mine. Sorry. I know part of it up here is ripped a little bit. Yeah, I know. But I was saying Leave At McNally, 983. Remember, it's the mass profile picture. Thank you guys for 209 subs. And I hope you enjoyed my review slash epic rants on Suicide Squad. Hope y'all can hear me as well. Make sure the volume's up. But yeah, remember, it's the one with the mass profile picture. Now, you can watch videos from other channel. I did share my reviews, 2016 super reviews of two Batman animated movies. That was Batman Unlimited, Max vs. Mutants, and Batman, yeah, can't really speak. Batman Return of the Cape Crusaders. That starred late Adam West and Star World War II. Coming back to play Batman, voice Batman and Robin. It's a movie based on the 60s cartoon, 60s show when they inspired the roles as the characters. Yeah, but I can say this: it's a lot better than this movie. Anyway, welcome back to another super review. I've been doing what I call the 2010s superhero era reviews, 2010s era of superhero reviews, and now I'm on the year 2016. These are superhero movies that came out in 2010 to 2019. And I got two more movies 2016, starting with this movie. And this is going to be another rant, another big rant. This movie, ugh, I hated this film. This bottom line, straight up. This is a 2016 superhero film based on the ominous action figure line by Metal, which I've never heard of. That is Max Steel. Yes, Max Steel. Which honestly, I thought this movie sucked. This movie was awful. This movie was garbage. Yeah, this movie was boring to sit through. I nearly fell asleep watching it. I had to kind of replay it again. And my TV was, when I was watching on Prime Video, the TV messed up. Maybe the TV was just trying to say, stop watching this shit, stop watching this shit, you know. Yeah. But anyway, this is co-produced by, well, let's see, let's get into the production of it. An early attempt to create a Max Steel film occurred in December 2009, when Paramount Pictures purchased the film rights to the franchise. Taylor Lautner was an early choice for the starring role. Oh gosh. And he was in Sharp Boy and Lava Girl, and that film, so I'm not really a fan of him as an actor. I wasn't a fan of this actor too that played this role, although he later dropped out due to commitment to the Stretch Armstrong film. In January 2013, production was suspended with Max Steel over to a television series of the same name, which I've never seen. I guess it's a cartoon. Yeah. And I was, and I don't even know what Max Steel was. I probably heard of this movie back when it came out in 2016, but I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what Guardians of the Galaxy was, but I gave that a chance. I saw that in theaters. From what I heard, this movie was in theaters and it was pulled out like that. And it feels more like a TV movie, in my opinion. It feels more like a, well, I would say direct to video movie. You know, in August 2013, plans for a new adaptation resumed Render partnering with Dolphin Entertainment to fund the film. Ben Whishaw and Anna Fee were cast as Matt McGrath and Sophia McGrath. That same month, Andy Garcia's casting was cast as Dr. Miles Edwards. Maria Botello and Mike Doyle they joined the cast as Molly and Jim McGrath, Max's parents. Christopher, filming began on April 29, 2014 and ended on May 31st, 2014. I don't wonder why. But the film wasn't released until October, you know. And that's kind of a bad month to release a superhero movie, if you ask me. Unless it's direct to video. Like I said, yeah. But the film was in North Carolina. It was panned by critics who dismissed it as a generic, unoriginal, and forgettable while also criticizing character development, performances, and visual effects. And I agree. The film was a box office bomb, only grossing $6.3 million against a $10 million budget. $10 million and it flopped horribly. Maybe because they figured they released a good time, they wanted to come out with. Look, if you had the MCU going on, Marvel movie go. Marvel movies going on. The earlier ones like the Avengers and the Iron Man movies, Captain America, and the Avengers that were hits at the box office that were making money. And especially Captain America, Captain America Civil War came out this year in May, and that made billions of dollars. So they probably thinking we need to release this movie pretty quickly then. So it feels like they're just trying to. You can definitely tell they're just trying to rush this movie out there because again, it was 2014 when they were finishing filming this movie when they began filming it. So it's like you can just tell they were in a rush to make the film. Yeah. But for the cast, the movie doesn't have a big cast, thank God. Ben Whishaw as Max McGrath, I did not care for this actor. Yeah. Oh, he was in an episode of Law and Order True Crime, which don't care. Never seen this guy in any movies. Maria Botello as Molly Beth. She plays his mother. Maria Botello, beautiful woman, a great actress. I liked her in Mummy 2 with the Dragon Emperor. I think she's a lot better than Rachel Weisz. You know, I think she was in Cody Ugly 2009. You see that movie in Payback. Even though that film, yeah, well, I'd rather watch that than this. She was in that with Mel Gibson. She's good at films, and she was in NCIS, I think from season 15 to 18 or 17, something like that. Yeah, but she was great, great actress, beautiful woman. Annie Vallejo as Sophia, beautiful actress. You know, I wouldn't say she's done much movies. I don't know that I've seen. Maybe some TV shows and stuff. Not too much. Pretty girl though. Josh Brenner as the voice of Steel. Josh Brenner. Let's see. I think I've seen him before. Let's see. The Internship. Okay, yeah, I know I recognize that voice from somewhere. I like that movie. It was better than this. You know, with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. It's cool that he got to work with them. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Turtles, the movie, which I don't know if I'll be doing a review on that. Probably should. Andy Garcia as Dr. Miles Edwards. Dr. Miles Edwards. He's the owner of Transhuman Industries. Andy Garcia, great actor though. You know, he's worked with I think like Sean Connery and Robert De Niro. He was in The Untouchables. I think he was in the Ocean's 11 movie. Yeah, but a real good actor, you know, and it's so sad that he scooped down to this level of being in this movie. Oh, he was in Black Rain. I remember him in that with Michael Douglas. That's a great movie. Yeah, love that film with Michael Douglas. Yeah, like I said, Ocean's 11. And I think he came back in 12 and 13 as well. He's in Pink Panther 2. Yeah, but a very good actor too. You know, yeah. Mato appears briefly as the father. He was in Law and Order Special Victims Units. It's directed by Stuart Handler. Handler? I never heard of him. Let's see. Oh, he's directed Whisper, Sorority, some two horror movies which I've never seen. Were they hits? Well, it looks like they weren't really big hits for movies. Maybe some countries did well, but to me it looks like it flopped. Seems like a movie, you know, he even though negative reviews from the critics, okay, some of the cast was great, and that movie made decently money. I never seen that. Sorority Row, Row, Sorority Row. That made a little money, but still critics didn't like it. Oh, it's he directed some episodes of Superman and Lois, which I like Superman and Lois. He probably did good on that. Yeah, written by Christopher L. Yoltz, who's wrote some of the MCU movies. Well, Marvel animated feature films he's worked on his next Avengers Heroes Tomorrow and Hulk versus I guess Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine, and those are really good movies. I enjoyed those films. Those are really good movies. They're underrated in my opinion. I enjoyed Thor: The Dark World. Thor: The Dark World I thought was good, and I even like Thor Ragnarok. Now maybe some of you don't, but trust me, Thor Ragnarok came out a year later after this. That's a better movie. Yeah, and he worked on some TV shows as well, anime series as well for superheroes. It's based on Max Steel by Mattel. Let's see. It was an American media franchise releases a line of action figures, and Max Steel name is suspended alive. The original figures based on these first TV series were similar to the original 12-inch G.I. Joe toys. So I guess they were popular. Max Steel was a big popular action figure toy, and I guess they were able to. Well, they had one movie out of it, and that movie didn't work. Probably some animated movies, which I'm sure could do it better, than this. It's produced by Bill O'Dowd, Julia Pister, sorry, cinematography by Brad Wood, edited by Michael Lewis Hill, music by Nathan Fier. I'm sorry. Some of the cinematography, editing, and music I was not a fan of in this film either. The movie's 32 minutes long, about 1 hour and 30 minutes, I think. 1 hour and 32 minutes. The good news is it's a short film. Basically, the story of the movie is that it chronicles the adventures of a teenage Max McGrath and an alien companion named Steel. They combine their powers to form the superhero Max Steel. Steel is a funny, slightly rebellious techno organ who wants to utilize Max's skills. When the two meet, they combine together to become Max Steel, a superhero with unmatched strength on Earth. They soon learn to rely on each other when Max Steel must square off against an unstoppable enemy from another galaxy. And he's got to find out stuff about his father, and he's got to fight a bad guy at the end. There's gonna be spoilers in this review. I don't care. But if you haven't seen Max Steel, good for you. And if you haven't seen it, don't watch this review because there'll be spoilers here. He's got to find out what happens to his father. Yeah, and he's got to stop the bad guy from taking so much power. A villain who wants so much power, he must become a superhero. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get into the story and then give you my final opinion on this movie. I don't want to be too long tonight, but this film, like I said, is boring throughout. I'll get into the reasons why, but the movie pretty much starts off with meeting Max McGrath. He's moving to his mom. They're moving to this town of Copper Canyon, where he was born. They moved around from place to place, but his mom, Molly, played by Maria Botello, they move here. He helps her move. Uh, Even the music score, the opening titles suck. I'm sorry. The opening titles are like just really forgettable in this movie. The music score, that's the thing about superhero movies. Like Iron Man, you probably know the music score. Like Superman the movie, Batman 89, you would know the music score. Even The Shadow, that might not be a great movie, but it has a great score. Uh, yeah. Let's see, Captain America: The First Avenger, The Avengers, those have great scores that you remember. One of your problems with superhero movies start off. We meet Max McGrath, whatever the hell his name is, Max McGrath, and this guy is a block of wood. He's bland, he's forgettable, his acting is bad. I didn't care about him at all right away. He's a teenager, but he looks like he's 25 or about my age, about 31. He doesn't look like a damn teenager. Too old to be a teenager. He's 15 or 16. He ain't no 16. He looks older than that. Um, but yeah, like I said, for music scores, I can name other super. Blind Man even had a good music score. Yeah. The Mask, that has a good score. Yeah. They have other movies here, yeah. Can name several of them down here that have good scores. X-Men, X2, good scores. Yeah. X-Men always has a good theme, and Spider-Man, especially the Amazing Spider-Man 1. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and even Amazing Spider-Man 2 have better scores than this. And better special effects and cinematography. Mystery Man had a good sound theme. Batman Beyond, I know it's a show, but they made a movie out of it, and that movie, animated movie, and Mask of the Phantasm had a better score. This is what you need for a superhero movie. One of the things you need for a superhero film is a great score. As soon as the score, if you don't have a great score to get me invested in the story, to make me like, ooh, like, okay, I'm in for it. I'm in for it. That's the problem with this movie. I'm not invested in the story. A superhero movie, Get my attention. Have a good score. You need a good score. You know, that's one of the key pieces to a superhero movie. You have to have a great opening full theme. Superman the movie, Batman 1999. You know, despite how long Superman the movie is, it has a good story, and Superman 2 does as well. The lesser version, not bigger than the Donner Cup, but I'm not too big on the Donner. I don't like the Donner Cup too much, but that's just me. Don't hate it, but I do think it's an overrated cut. That's just me. But at least those have good scores, even if they're a little long. They don't have too long, and it's good to listen to, and it intriguing me to watch the story. But anyway, sorry, just blabbering off there because if more stuff about this movie, I'm gonna get pissed. But his father died in a supposed storm. He goes in town. He goes to school. He rides a bike, and he meets this girl Sophia. So stupid. She nearly runs him over with a bike. Like the idiot can't watch where he's going on a bike because you can get killed if you're riding a bike on almost on the road. He's like, yeah, teacher. And throughout the movie, she tries to ask him out or tries to go out with him, but there's no chemistry, between the two. In my opinion, the chemistry is very flat. Even for a love story, he walks in there and is like, "Your father's Jimmy Graff? Oh, who's a smart man?" But he goes to school. This kid gets picked on. Max helps him pick up the papers and stuff. Okay, sees a picture of his dad. Gets a little emotional because I guess his dad went to the school he's going to. His mother refuses to talk about the past or his father's death. Andy Garcia comes over to see how he's doing, just to talk to him because he invited them back to live there, and they're just having a conversation, talking. Max ends up learning that his father worked for NTX, an advanced research company now run by his father's, I guess, co-worker or his partner, who was a scientist like him. Yeah, for some reason he gets these powers. And just out of nowhere, he gets these electronic powers. His hand starts having electricity when he touches them. Yay! So he has the power to turn technology on. How exciting! And he does it. He goes into the woods with a radio box, a music box or whatever. Touches it and blows it up. He's like, "Woohoo! This is funny!" And blows it up. Yeah. Anyway, he goes on a date with Sophia, and he's like having an attack or whatever. He's like, "I'm sorry, I can't do this." And she tries to ask him out while he's eating lunch in the cafeteria. But again, she's outside through the window and she's like, you know, she said this. I'm like, I can't hear you. Like, I can't hear somebody if they're talking out of a window. If if you're talking to me through a window, I can't understand you. Yeah, yeah. And this creature next door, he comes from this energy, whatever. I don't care because it's the scene where Miratil and Negros are talking to Max, and it goes back and forth. And the editing is just awful. It's just very shaky in your face at the time. The editing, even the cinematography looks like straight to video. I'm sorry, I've seen better looking Jean-Claude Van Damme movies that have better cinematography than this. Even Steven Seagal, like Half Past Dead, I think has some good cinematography in there. And Exit Wounds, I think was good for direct to video movie. This looks like crap. This looks very cheap. $10 million, and I'm sorry, I just was not a fan of the cinematography in this movie for some reason, and the effects just don't look very good. I admit, I do think the effects somewhat look decent in some scenes, but I've seen better special effects in movies. Like I can name some of the superhero movies that have better special effects. CGI that actually have a budget. You know, you know, Doctor Strange, which came out the month after this, the first Doctor Strange movie that has some amazing special effects in it that look better than this, and it has good cinematography. And hell, a better lead too. And Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Stephen Strange is a better lead. But anyway, Max encounters this still Bush Jasper. He never shuts up. He's annoying. He just blabbers on. Max takes him to school with him. and he's in his bag talking, and some guy thinks, "What'd you say to me?" He's like, "Nothing. Have a nice day." So like, freak. Or he's in the classroom talking. He kicks the bag, and he's like, "The girl's from your heart rate. You should avoid her." He's like, "Shut up." And he's talking to his locker. He's talking to his bag that still the alien life form or whatever machine, alien life form, the alien creature is like talking to his back. Yeah. Then somewhat they get chased by mysterious men who, okay, I didn't get this at first. This kind of started boring me. And Steele's like, we should suit up. Again, Max Steel, he's got the suit. Folks, I hate to tell you this, but spoiler alert, he's not in the suit that much. Only in maybe 3 or 4 scenes. Yeah. But we could have maybe a good action scene with these men with guns. You have an alien life form that can connect with you, unlike freaking Blue Beetle or something that can connect to you, and you can put a suit on and you can fight these guys. If they would have explored that, the problem with this movie, the story's not fleshed out enough. Everything happens like really quick. It feels like the story's not fleshed out enough. It's not fleshed out enough. You know, the movie needs to take a little time to breathe to tell a story. That's the problem. It feels like everything's happening so fast, and if you blink or you fall asleep or you get disinterested in watching it, which you will, by the way, if you've seen this film, you won't know what the hell's going on. You know, and honestly, with it kind of reminded me of the Amazing Spider-Man a little bit with the whole thing with Andy Garcia, who was the villain, by the way, who wants the energy power, whatever. Yeah, it totally reminds me of Oh He Knew His Father, just like Peter Parker's dad. Um, I forget his name, but Peter Parker's father being friends with Dr. Kirk Connors and then working together. But at least in Amazing Spider-Man 1, they explain that. You know, and Andrew I thought was good in the lead as Peter Parker. Yeah, Andrew is better. This kid tries. It's like he's trying to be Andrew Garfield a little bit. Reminds me of him a little bit, but his acting is just bad. Yeah, and I'm like, and Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, they had good chemistry. It was sweet, romantic banter going on. Yeah, this has none of that. You know, but he's got flashbacks of his father's life a little bit of when he was a baby or when his father died. Or flashbacks, he tries to do, run around with his powers. He can do this and that, which okay, is pretty cool and neatly. He does his fight, he does his jump, and this, he's like doing karate and whatever. Like, okay, proud of some of his powers, but we don't get enough of it, in my opinion, at least. Then he puts the suit on for the first time, and then just take it off. You know, he learns that an alien race called the Ultrans with the power to manipulate the elements, launch an attack on Intech. In search of answers, he tries to go visit Miles. He gets so asks for Sophia for help, but he starts to have an attack and runs off. He nearly hits him up with again with a bike. He nearly gets hit twice. It was funny when Jane Foster ran in the first Thor movie, ran Thor over like twice, hit him with a car. That was funnier. He explains that him and his father were working on creating a generator capable of creating an unlimited source of power. It suggests that Jim died caused in an accident caused by the following safety procedures. Mask get caught. He gets caught in a storm. He helps us like, oh, he can start a car, yeah, with his energy hand. He starts to go like, "You're welcome." Yeah, it's cool that he can kind of maybe fly or run to things or stick his leg, his feet is, know, like high. We just don't explore enough of his powers, in my opinion. But when we do, yeah, he puts on the suit, but I don't remember him fighting too much with the suit. He gets enough for just like 5 minutes, and then it comes back off again. It's like Turbo Power Rangers movie; you hardly see them in the suits. No, even Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the show, which I've seen some of that. At least those suits look better. Yeah. And that was a TV series from 1993. That at least that had more of a budget than this. and he thinks that Steel is responsible for his dad's death, and he's like, "Get away from me!" He's like, "But we have to stay together. I have to protect you." He's like, "Go away!" And Max discovers that his mom is missing. He goes to Sophia. He calls Miles, who reveals he's aware of the Ultra links, and that Molly was kidnapped as a trap for Max. At the Ontario facility where Jim died, Max goes to the facility. He finds Steel captured, and he finds that, spoiler alert, Jim McGrath, who was an alien, was in who naturally generated Turbo, still was his partner, and the power generator was machine designed to harness and focus his natural energy. However, Miles became addicted to Turbo. The power itself gave him, and allied with the unleashed to Jim's energy for himself. So Jim, Andy Garcia, kills him because he wants the power for himself. He's like, "Well, I trusted you. You trusted him." So he was still to find it, and he protect Max at all costs. Because Miles entraps him. Miles got this suit on. Kind of like knows about like Ironmonger, like Obadiah Stane, Jeff Bridges, who does the kill shot. He's like, "You bastard, you did this," and he hit him. He attacks Max, and Sophia calls his mom. Molly calls, and you realize that she's part of the spoiler alert. She's part of the company too. One of them was company too. And she's like, "Okay, you don't work for Andy Garcia. You work for me. You do what I say. Now go find my son and do your jobs." Yeah, yeah. And he wants the harvest energy for himself. This kind of reminds me. Oh, he wants the energy, the power for. He wants to have the power for himself. He wants all that energy. What does that remind me of? Oh, Hope 2003. Remember when his dad, when I'll go. You just watch me go. You I'm sorry. I'm just kind of channeling my Nick Nolte, yeah, David Banner a little bit in from Hulk 2000 because that reminds me of who wants to fight the Hulk to have all his power. That's the same thing here nearly. But him and Max still, he wears the suit. They fight, and honestly, I've seen better action. Yeah, I can complain about Captain America movies, the bad, but they have better, Iron Man 1 and 2, even Iron Man 3 has some decent action in there. You know, Burton's movies, Tim Burton's Batman movies might not have great action. Batman Forever has some good action in there. You know, but this was poorly edited. But I do like the scene though where he disappears. He can turn invisible, do like a stealth mode to attack an enemy, but it's freaking useless because Andy Garcia looks at the water and he can see him and then he attacks him. So I'm like, well, that was a pointless power. I'm like, really? So he can turn invisible to find enemy, but if they look into water, they can somewhat get him. Really? And it's cool things he do, like they don't slow enough. And of course he's like, you know, keep fighting, get my power. He's like this. He's like, well, let's skip the ball. Will he survive that still? I don't know. And still doesn't know he's, I guess, a robot and alien creature. He doesn't know that. So they say, you want the power? Take it all. And I guess they kill Andy Garcia. Oh, well, Molly is a shareholder of the company, of course, because, well, you figure because her husband was owner of the company, I guess, you could say. And his suit explodes and Miles explodes in it. And he's like, this is for my dad. Goodbye, Miles. And she's like, we got a lot to talk about. And she tells him that she feared the Ultra Tranks would come after Max. She constantly moved until Miles suggested that they move back. Yeah. And Max to admit Turbo. Max apologized to Sophia for his behavior, and makes a date for that night. Yeah, and they kiss. They share a kiss. He shows like a little picture. They kiss, but again, I don't know chemistry. At least when Angel Girlfriend and Emma Stone, they have chemistry, and when they kiss, I buy it. I buy them being in love. But here, I didn't buy it. You know. And at the end, he goes for a flight in his suit, and Max Steel's his armor suit flies off at the end. He can fly too. We don't explore these powers enough. And that's Max Steel in the movie. And yeah, seriously, the film was pretty short. Yeah. Now let me get to what I don't like about this movie. I'm trying to finish the review now. And honestly, this movie is just it's forgettable. I mean, just let me sum up my opinion on Max Steel. This film sucks. This is boring. This is just a forgettable movie. This was a boring movie. First of all, the story sucks. The story doesn't make no sense. Like the story is not fleshed out enough. In my opinion, the film is too short. It's 92 minutes long. That to me is too short. But you know what? There are some movies that are 90 minutes long, or even 80 minutes long, that can have a good story and entertain me. I can go through some Jean-Claude Van Damme movies or Steven Seagal movies that are probably are somewhat 90 something minutes long, and they're entertaining. Hard Target is probably 90 something minutes long. I'm not gonna look through the. I don't want to do that right now, but Hard Target has a really good story and it's entertaining to watch throughout. But even a 90-minute movie, you can still have a good story. You know, and that movie had way better action in it. I'm talking about Hard Target and Under Siege. The first Under Siege movie did. Well, that maybe was maybe a little hundred, but which was okay. Some movies can be a little longer to tell a story. Some superhero movies are a bit longer. Like the Superman the movie, it's long, which is nothing wrong with that. I like that as a long. That's a long movie because it has a good story that I'm invested in. It gets from point A to point B to point C. This movie goes from point A to all over the fucking place. You know, that's what this movie is. It's all over the place. The story of his father doesn't make sense. It's not that interesting, and the story just it doesn't pan out enough, in my opinion. Is what I'm saying. And it's boring. I don't care about the lead. You know, the love story, the love interest. That doesn't work at all. They have no chemistry. Maria Botello is barely in the movie. Andy Garcia, you can just tell he was going to be the villain. It's very cliche. You know, uh, yeah, the directing sucks. Stuart Endler, don't direct a superhero movie again because you can't do it. Christopher Elliott, like I said, he directed some of the Marvel. I mean, wrote some of the Marvel animated movies, and you know the Thor movies. Thor one. I mean, Thor the Dark World, Thor Ragnarok. Those are better films. Yeah, at least they're more entertaining. They're not perfect, but they're better than this because they didn't bore me. But I can't say that about Thor Ragnarok though. But I'm sure I would like Thor Ragnarok more than this. Even if I do have issues with it, it'll still be better than this. Because at least that film has some beautiful colors in it, some beautiful CGI and CGI as well. Has some good CGI in it. This film did not. This film looks very cheap. $10 million, you could have done a lot better. Yeah. Cinematography was ugly in some scenes. Some of the cinematography was no, you know what? Screw it. I don't like the cinematography at all. The editing, the action scenes, it's just very much turbo editing. It's just very choppy editing, and the action scenes are not that exciting. You don't get enough of Max Steel in the suit. So if you were hoping, if you love the toy that this action is based on, you were thinking, oh my god, we're gonna see a lot of Max Steel action scenes. You know, you're not gonna get that. If you're not gonna, he's not in the suit. What's the point of calling the movie Max Steel if we don't see him in the suit? The guy's not in the suit most of the movie. The music score is completely forgettable. Nathan Lanier, don't do a film score again. Yeah, because you suck. You are no John Williams. You are no Danny Elfman. You're no Jerry Goldsmith. And I can't think of the name of others. Randy Elderman, just to name a few. And Elderman, I can't say his name right. But those guys can give some good film scores. Yeah. And the Phantom, I forget who did the score for that. Oh, I'm not gonna look it up right now, but Phantom had a better score. Yeah, at least you got to see the Phantom in a suit most of the movie. Yeah, and had an interesting story in my opinion. With Billy Zane. The movie's 19 minutes long. It's too fast paced. It feels too short. Now Rocky 3. I'm sorry to take about mention the movie sometimes in this video, but Rocky 3. That's a fast paced movie, but that film actually had a good story. And for its fast paced, for its being a fast paced movie, it actually had a good story to it. You know, this film was 19 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes long. You're probably saying, well, leave us not long. Well, it's short, yeah, but problem is, like I said, the story's not investable. It's short. The CGI looks like crap. It looks very cheap. You don't get enough scenes with him in the suit. Yeah, yeah. And $10 million, yeah, $6.3 million. I see why it flopped. I can see what the critics are talking about. There is no character development. Max is not interesting in character. He's very bland, forgettable. He's just not interesting. He's fucking tap water, you know. Tap water is more interesting to watch, you know. The ocean is more better to look to watch, you know, to look at the waves than Max Steel. That's how boring he is to watch. The lead actor, yeah. Now I will say this: I do like Maria Botello and Andy Garcia for what they have to do. I think they're decent in the movie. They're trying, but and the girl that plays Sophia, she's very cute, but the film has such a it's bad directing and bad script. It has, you know, in my opinion, you can't make a good movie out of a bad script. That's like with Superman for the Pressure Piece. You know, you can't make a good movie out of a bad script. And this film has a bad script. You can definitely tell they rushed this. Yeah, and I'll admit the suit does look cool, but we don't get enough of it. We don't get to know his powers. The whole thing about his dad. Yeah, okay, yeah, in the ending you see what that his dad it's in him. I guess his dad's from hell. We don't really explore that, or I didn't really find that interesting. And I don't know nothing about Max Steel. That's why this movie flopped because it was probably a movie that hardly anybody saw in theaters. You know, and it was a huge flop. Yeah, $10 million was the budget, and it only made 6.3 million. So you definitely tell back in 2016, nobody wanted to see this movie. I might have not even heard of it. I didn't know what Max Steel was. You know, it's just a movie that they're rushing to get out there. Because again, they do it. A lot of these studios, yeah, the studio that is Open Road Films, probably were trying to get rush. They're being like Sony. They're being like 20th Century Fox. You know, they're trying to rush superhero movies out there. Yeah, or Warner Brothers, like what they do with the DCU. You know, they're trying to rush these superhero films out there. If you want to make a good superhero movie, take your time with it and give us a good story. You can get sequels, you can make money, but you have to do it the right way. Mm. And this movie did everything completely wrong. The other thing I'll give it is Maria Botello, beautiful actress in this movie. You know, beautiful actress. I like her as an actress, but I'll even watch The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Say what you will about that movie, I can get entertainment. I got Brendan Fraser, I got Jet Li, I got some good action scenes in there. I got some entertaining stuff in there. I think it's an entertaining movie. Yeah. Not totally memorable, but I like when Brendan Fraser says in the line in the movie, "Prepare to rule in hell," you know, something like that. That was cool. At least that film was trying, did what it could. And this movie doesn't try at all. This movie was flat on its ass, and it's so fucking lame. I'm sorry for my language, but like this movie. Ah, quit your balling. No, I'm kidding. I'm just going off crazy, making no sense. But anyway, my rating for Max Steel is all I can say about it. It's just a lazy attempt at a superhero movie. It's lazy. And if you watch this, you probably know what Max Steel is yourself, but that's fine if you don't. If you've seen the toys, that's fine. The character's not Marvel or DC. He's just based on an action figure. Wow. Idiots that made this movie thought that'd be a good idea. No, it's not. But anyway, Max Steel, boring movie. I would say this it had potential if they worked hard at it. If you had a better director and writers, it could have been an awesome movie. But no. So my rating for Max Steel, I'm gonna give this film a thumbs down. My rating for this film is 1 out of 5 stars. Even though I'm over telling Andy Garcia and the actress who plays Sophia, these three folks, people they try, they try, but the film just doesn't work. It's just a boring, lazy, awful movie that is just boring to watch, forgettable. Yeah, and that is a complete failure of a film. So it is definitely one of the worst superhero films out there ever made, in my opinion. Yes, I'd rather watch Batman and Robin over this. Yeah. Anyway, guys, that was my review of Max Steel. Let me know what you think about this movie in your opinion. And if you like it, if you love it or like it. If you like it, why? I mean, that's cool if you do. To each his own. Oh boy, like Max Steel, maybe I can just touch my computer and make the quality looking better, you know. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments down below what do you think of Max Steel in your opinion. And stay tuned for the next 2016 review, which, let me see, just looking at my work schedule, I am working all week. So you probably won't see me again until Friday, but the good news is I get off at 3 o'clock on Friday. And I'll be off for the next weekend, thank God. And I hopefully want to do more reviews. So, oh, fingers crossed I'm off Monday. I wish. That'd be nice. Anyway, it'll be one more 2016 review. This is a revisit review, another MCU movie. I'll look it up right now. I got time, yeah. That is. This is the 14th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The 14th film in the MCU, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Philly Ello, Rachel McAdams, Benedict Wong, Mads Mikkelsen, and I can't say the name cast, but that is anyway. That is the 14th MCU movie. And another revisit. This is the last Marvel revisit review. That is Doctor Strange, which is a better movie than this. This will be more positive reviews next. This is a better movie. Not a perfect movie, but a more interesting film to watch than this. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but Doctor Strange will be next. This will be my last revisit review too on this channel. Not forever, but I am thinking about doing more revisit reviews, guys, when I can. I can't promise you it's going to be a lot. I mean, I can't promise you it'll be anytime soon. It won't be, but I got some ideas for some revisit reviews, maybe, maybe. But Doctor Strange will be my last revisit review for now on my new channel here. For now, it'll be the last revisit review on this channel and my last Marvel revisit review. I finished my X Men ones revisit reviews and my Spider Man revisit reviews, and this will be my last MCU revisit review. The next one will be the next MCU movie review probably be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Yeah, because I can't make, which is the 15th film in the MCU. But anyway, that will be, it's when we get 2017 reviews. It'll be a little while before I get to that. I gotta, oh, yeah. But then when I start with 2017, I will be starting with Justice League Dark. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I got about, I got about four movies before I get to Guardians 2. Yeah. And some will be positive and some will be, again, rants too, so. But not everything. Yeah. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think of. I mean, Max Steel. Again, my rating for Max Steel, back to Max Steel, is 1 out of 5 stars. 1 out of 5 stars and a thumbs down. So, tell me, guys, what you think of Max Steel in your opinion. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And what do you think of it? Have you ever known about the toy action figures or seen any media based off this? They made a franchise out of it. Any cartoons they made? Have you ever seen? I haven't. This film made me not interested in this character. You know, in fact, it makes me want nothing to do with this character ever again. But anyway, guys, stay tuned for the next review this Friday, which is March 14th, will be the 14th MCU movie, Doctor Strange. Review for Doctor Strange. This will be next. And you can watch my original review too. I shared them on my Marvel reviews, and I will share it on my superhero reviews playlist as well. But it's on my Marvel reviews on my playlist here on my new channel. Just go look at that, and it's just a Doctor Strange 2016 review, and I did it a couple years back. So it's on there if you want to see my original thoughts on the movie, original review. It's on there. But anyway, guys, Doctor Strange is next. So thanks for watching. Bye bye. I'm just trying to practice Doctor Strange trying to escape where this movie doesn't exist to where a movie this doesn't exist. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Have a good day, good night, and have a good week. I'll see you on Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye.